Heavenly Father, we rejoice in your goodness, your grace, your creation. Help us to be ever to love you, to trust you, to obey you. Bless this assembly, each person. May your Holy Spirit be upon each. And out of this shall come what is good and what is right and just. We pray it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want you to know, David, he drove all the way from North Carolina. His daughter brought him just to see Danny Glover and Ed Schultz, and to be with the American Postal Workers Union on its kickoff night. My president into the room yet? Okay. Can't start nothing without the president in the house. We're honored and privileged this afternoon, and on behalf of the American Postal Workers Union, AFL-CIO, I am deeply honored to welcome each and every one of you who have taken time out of your busy schedule to join us in the House of Labor for what is the American Postal Workers Union 2015 Contract Campaign Kickoff Rally as we prepare ourselves to go forth tomorrow morning with those people across that table, the United States Postal Service. And you heard the song earlier, we want a contract. We want a contract. Yes. Are you fired up? Yes. Are you ready to go? Yes. Are you fired up? Yes. Are you ready to go? Yes. With that, I'm honored to introduce to you the Secretary-Treasurer of the AFL-CIO, Ms. Liz Schuler. When I first met Liz, she said, "Hi, my name is Liz." I said, "Hi, my name is Liz." Believe it or not, we're born one day apart. I was born May the 17th, she's born on May 18th. We have become very good friends. Liz, do us the honor of welcoming us to your house.
Thank you. Thank you, Liz. How's everybody doing out there? All right. Well, I have the distinct honor and privilege of actually welcoming you officially to the House of Labor, your house. Let's hear it. And I want to thank Mark, of course, for his leadership. He's my boss. He's on the AFL-CIO Executive Council. We also have J. David Cox here from our Executive Council as well. And of course, my partner in crime, Tafari Gabre. But Liz Powell and I, being fellow Secretary-Treasurers, just want to say a word on what an inspiring woman you are in your leadership as well, Liz. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I am so proud to welcome you here, as I said, on behalf of the officers, of course, Rich Trumka, and Tafari Gabre, who is here with me as well today. And to be among the likes of the activists and leaders in this room, it inspires us in the work that we do every day, and we know what a critical time this is for you and your union. I see, of course, we have some heavy hitters here too. Danny Glover, hello. And of course, there's probably a cheesy thing I could say about, like, being a lethal weapon to the labor movement or whatever. I'm not going to do that, though. I'm sure he's heard that a million times. And of course, Ed Schultz is in the house, I see. So all I can say is you must be pretty doggone important to have this kind of lineup with you today. So I'll welcome you also on behalf of the 12.5 million working men and women in the AFL-CIO, and that's 56 unions who are standing with you and saying good jobs for postal workers equals good postal service. You think? Yeah. And the service you provide is absolutely sacred. You're obviously an institution in this country, and you all are the ones that make the system work. And I don't need to tell you about the decent pay you deserve, the safe working conditions you deserve, the secure retirement that you deserve. And that's what you're standing up for and fighting for, not just for yourselves, but for all workers in America, right? Because we know that this is the nation's largest civilian employer. And so what you do at the bargaining table is what is going to lift up every worker in this country. So you set the stage. You set the stage, no pressure, right? You set the stage really for labor relations in our economy and in our communities. And I want to applaud you for the work that you're doing in terms of bringing in community into this fight, because we all know that a rising tide lifts all boats, and that's what this is all about. And it's not going to be easy. Nobody said anything worthwhile was ever easy, and this bargaining year in particular is going to be tough. And you're up against some people who don't give a you-know-what about maintaining a postal service that meets the needs of America's working families. And so it's going to take every postal worker, it's going to take every worker pulling together in solidarity every day, all day long, to win this fight. That's right. And I know that you're up for it. Are you up for it? That's what I thought. You're going to do it for you, your families. You're going to do it for your communities. And what you do, as I said, is going to lift standards for everyone. And we're so grateful for the fight you're about to undertake. Thank you so much. And just remember, 12.5 million working men and women with you right there on your shoulder. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. How you feel, Mr. Teferi? You got a couple of words? You got a couple of words for us? We would be honored. Teferi Gabri, Executive Vice President of the AFL-CIO.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. So I want to join Liz in welcoming all of you to the House of Labor. This looks beautiful. This is great. And on behalf of Rich and all of us, again, I want to welcome you. Listen, our theme this year and moving forward is raising wages. We need to raise wages. From the president to the Pope, everybody has been talking about income inequality. So our fight for raising wages starts now. Our fight for raising wages starts with your contract. And that means this is not just a postal workers fight. This has to be a janitor's fight. This has to be the government employees fight. This has to be CWA's fight. This has to be everybody's fight. If I know one thing, I know this. When we stand together, when we come together, and when we say enough is enough together, and when we pick up other people's fight as our own fight, when we stand up when any workers getting injured somewhere as if we're being injured, no one can stop us. And this is a great beginning, and I'm looking forward to joining you in the picket lines, in the streets, in anywhere you want us to be, and I know we're gonna win if we do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Teferi. I think we need a little something. How you feel, Elise? You ready to give us some of that little, just a little bit? Sisters and brothers, Elise Bryant.
Good evening and welcome. I bring you greetings from the Labor Heritage Foundation, the art and soul of the labor movement, which I have the honor of heading up. But some of you who know me know that not only do I teach, but I'm also a culture worker and a hellraiser. Yes. I say union, you say yes. I say union, you say yes. Union, yes. Union, yes. Union, yes. Union. Yes. I say contract, you say no. I say contract, you say no. Contract, no. Contract, no. Contract. No. Contract. I say all together, you say awesome. I say all together, you say all together. All together, all together, all together, all together. I say proud, you say powerful. I say proud, you say powerful. Proud, 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 proud. I say we are, you say worthy. I say we are, you say we are. We are. We are. We are. I say forever, you say united. I say forever, you say united. Forever. United. Forever. United. Forever. United. That spells A-P-W. Who's got the power? Who's got the power? We got the power. What kind of power? Union power. Who's got the power? We got the power. What kind of power? Union power. All righty, brothers and sisters, let's get ready for the real show.
There are some things you just have to do, and I think I better do this so I don't forget what those things are, at least one of them that I must do. Joining us this evening, we have Larry Cohen. We played your song, We Need a Contract. Larry Cohen is the president of CWA, Communication Workers of America. Thank you, Larry, for being here with us. Also, who thought she was sneaking in the house is Cleola Brown, president of the A. Philip Randolph Institute. She will be joining us at the table tomorrow. Now, Mr. Jim Hightower, former commissioner of the Texas Department of Agriculture and publisher of the Lowdown, is in the house with us this evening. Richard Thyssen, who's the president of the National Active and Retired Federal Employees Association. My sister, Diane Babineau, first woman, and I don't know how many years, recently elected as the General Vice President of the Machinists Union. Diane, you're here somewhere, I know. Reverend Terry Melvin, President of the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists. Bill Lucy, President Emeritus of the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists. I don't know if he's arrived yet, but he's expected to join us this evening. Ed Schultz. Hey. And I don't have to tell y'all who he is, right? No. But he's MSNBC. Gracious enough this evening to have had on his program President Mark Dimmerstein, along with activist Danny Glover. Thank you, Ed. Mr. Hillary Shelton, not sure if he's arrived in the house this evening, but he's expected to join us as well. He's the Washington Bureau Director and Senior Vice President of Advocacy, NAACP. J. David Cox. J. David Cox, fellow North Carolinian. Am I saying that right? That's right. North Carolinian with President Dimmerstein. He's the president of AFGE, American Federation of Government Employees. We were out in the cold with him last week, and when I say in the cold, I mean in the cold. But that's what it's all about. C.J. Jenkins, who's our young activist from the Baltimore local, not sure if he's arrived as yet. We have Nanette Johnson Corley, president of Montgomery. Proudly wearing her Power to the People Contract Action Team shirt, which she has decorated it. Did you bring an extra one? Stand up, let us see that shirt. Nanette graces the cover of the American Postal Workers Union magazine, with her bullhorn in hand. We also have with us Dina Briscoe, president of Nation's Capital, Southern Maryland area. Now, we don't have too many speakers who's going to be here this evening, but Mr. Hightower, I saw you coming this way toward me. Where did you go? Oh, right there. It's that blinding light. What can I say? Please join me on the stage. Let's give a welcome to Mr. Hightower. If you all remember, he was also a guest at our recent national convention in Chicago in July.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
All right. Well, it's just makes me happier than a flea at a dog show to be looking out at this great bunch of activists here. And thanks to Mark Demonstein and his whole team, the leadership of this feisty, agitating, movement-building union, not only for labor, but for the whole community. I was asked out here earlier, TV people said, well, why are you here for the postal workers? I said, I'm not here for the postal workers. I'm here for me. I'm here for the consumers, for the small farmers. I'm here for the small community people, for the inner city neighborhoods. I'm here for all the people who are dependent upon this postal service and want it to not to shrink, but to expand, to do more. And that's the great grand alliance that Mark and team have put together. You know, Jesse Jackson said, we might not all have come over on the same boat, but we're in the same boat now. That's a powerful reality, powerful reality. APWU is going right into the maw of corporate power, the privatizers and downsizers, the corporate butt kissers of both political parties. The bosses, the bankers, the big shots, bastards, and bullshitters who think that they can run roughshod over us. They think they're the top dogs and we're just a bunch of fire hydrants, you know, out here in the countryside. Well, that's what this union is changing, because they're going right at, they're not saying please. They're not saying we're begging. They're not saying we're ready to compromise at the start. They're saying, let us meet, and we're going to open the doors. This is an event that usually happens inside the Beltway, inside closed doors, where ordinary people can't get in. They've thrown open the doors, and we're going to publicize this all across America, not just tomorrow, but all the way down the road. Open this thing up. And finally, the people are ready for this. I can tell you, I do a lot of traveling. I've been about every place that's got a zip code, and I can tell you, that in every one of those places, there's somebody or some group of somebodies or a coalition of group of somebodies who are fighting. They are in rebellion against this tinkle-down economy that the Koch brothers and their powers that be have established in our country. And they're ready for change. After all, even the dog knows the difference between being stumbled over and being kicked, right? People know they're being kicked. And so they're looking for the kind of lead that you are producing. You are not only going to achieve something for the postal workers, but you're going to enliven labor all across the board, and that is going to enliven all the other environmental groups. Thank you for what you're doing. Very proud to be with you.
Thank you, Mr. Hightower. I got a young man in the back of the room who may think he's going to sneak out because he said he just stopped by to say hello, but you don't get away that easy. Larry Cohen, we need a few words from you. President of the CWA.
A few words will be a few words. So our union has 250,000 people bargaining this year. And we believe that your fight is our fight. Our slogan around our bargaining, it's many different employers, is very simple. It's our turn. We're saying to our employers, it's great that the S&P 500 has tripled in 5 years. We have had stagnant wages for 30 years. It's our turn. And our members who are bargaining this year, at the 250,000 of them and the 400,000 that aren't, will be with you at every step. We'll be there saying, no shutdowns of postal facilities. No shutdowns. And we'll be there saying, no more cuts. I just came back an hour ago from Geneva, Switzerland, the Council of Global Unions. The whole world knows that austerity does not work. The whole world knows that we need more jobs, we need higher pay, or the economy sinks. It's not just the moral issue. The whole world knows that. But the difference is the APWU, Mark and Liz and the leadership in this room, from one end of this country to the other, is going to say to our government and our president, where it is our turn. We're here for all working people. We're not going to see more shutdowns. We're rising up. We're fighting back. We're standing up. We're fighting back. We're standing up. We're fighting back. We're standing up. We're fighting back. Stand up. Fight back. Stand up.
How can you go wrong with that kind of energy? Before we bring Elise back up, Sister Cleola Brown, my sister, our sister. Yes, ma'am. We need some words. And thank you for being here.
How's everybody doing tonight? How's everybody doing tonight? Okay, because this is the beginning of when we're really getting ready to rock and roll. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in this room, you may dress up, slick back, and look sharp, but if you are a worker, you know that this is the beginning of a struggle, and it's not just APWU that's about to fight. The labor movement has been called to arms. And I think that we have the weapons, the will, and the wonderment to make them know that if you fight with one of us, you got to tackle all the rest of us. You got to fight all the rest of us. You have got to fight the rest of us. And until we make that message clear, everybody is vulnerable. But I tell you what, every day that we get up, every day, those of us who come from working backgrounds, know that but for other shoulders that we stand on, we would not be where we are. And we have an obligation to those generations that follow us to make sure that the shoulders stay strong and that the shoulders stay broad and that we can depend on one another when we're in a fight and that we'll be there for the generations to come. Mark, know that we are with you. You're sitting next to one of my best friends, Danny, who is always with us. But more than that, when you look across the country at the people that are aggravated by how they're treating the organization that gave us that leg up, that gave many of us, especially people of color, a door into the middle class. You don't tackle family, baby, because when you come after family, you got to get all the brothers and sisters. And the brothers and sisters are ready to go. We're with you all the way.
Clay will be there in the morning with us as well, as will Mr. Hightower. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. Elise, I know you got some left.
I don't know, but I've been told. I don't know, but I've been told. U.S. mail will not be sold. The U.S. mail will not be sold. The Postal Service is not broke. Postal Service is not broke. Free our will for Wall Street's yoke. Free our will for Wall Street's yoke. You got it.
Mr. Tyson, are you ready?
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah. My name is Dick Thisson, and I'm the National President of the National Active and Retired Federal Employees Association, and we're so proud to be here to support your efforts. And anything we can do to support you, just let us know, and we're with you all the way. I just wanted to make sure you knew that, and thank you so much.
Reverend Melvin, you ready for us? My brother, President of Coalition of Black Trade Unions.
Good evening, labor. Are you ready for a fight? They came after you. They tried to cut off your funding, and we said, hell no, we ain't gonna let it happen. They came after you. They tried to sell your services to Staples. We said, hell no, it ain't gonna happen. And now they're coming, and we're coming right after them. We're coming in their midst. We're coming in their face. We're coming right to the Postal Service. We're coming as one movement, and we're saying, hell no, we're not gonna take a substandard contract. We want what we deserve as workers. We will stand together. We will fight together. What do we want? Contract. When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? The Coalition of Black Trade Unionists and all of the constituency groups will be with you, but every step of the way, all you need to do is pick up the phone. All you need to do is make a nod. But we want you to know you are our Postal Service workers, and we believe in you and what you do. We are with you. We will stand with you. You will set the stage for all of our contracts to come. What do we want? When do we want it?
No wonder Mark, the Postal Service, is scared tomorrow. My gosh. My goodness gracious. Diane, are you in the room? Yay, she's on her way. General Vice President of the Machinists Union. And she can tell you that she's in the first in however many number of years, but she's in the first in a whole bunch of number of years. Thank you, babe.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Well, while I was standing back there listening to the Reverend and the Reach Out and Touch and Larry Cohen giving us that we're going to fight back, I said, well, I don't need to get up and say anything. But anyway, on behalf of, also I'm here to represent the Coalition of Labor Union Women. And Connie sends her greetings to you. But anyway, everyone is right. Whatever hurts one hurts all. Just remember that. All of y'all are human rights activists up here. Every day when you get up, you're going out there trying to make somebody else's life a better life. And I was standing back there just listening to everyone say, you know, I still mail letters. I want y'all to know that. I still mail letters, okay? I could not imagine not having the postal workers because I needed them when my granddaughter needed the frozen doll to be delivered at Christmas. I'm just saying, that's just a small thing. Just remember that. The postal workers has been with us, and we're going to be with you all. If we don't, who else is going to be out there? We are the conscience of the labor movement. We are the conscience of the average working family out there. As Cleola said, it was a gateway to the middle class for minorities. She is right. Over there off of North Capitol Street, everyone that came up from the South got a job either at the post office or the printing office. I want y'all to know that. I have relatives that have worked there. So I know what it is to struggle and be able to get up every day and provide a life for your family, for your grandchildren, and yourself. So don't take this lightly. All of the good speeches to hurrah can be good, but we got to be standing with the postal workers. We got to be like the Verizon. When they look back, we all got to be standing there, okay? We can say all the feel good, get out, get up, uptown funk, whatever we got to do. We got to make sure that they get a decent contract because if we don't, they're going to come after us next. And with that, I want to thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Diane. Did Mr. Shelton arrive yet? All right. Hey, hey. You ready? You're always ready. I don't even know why I'm asking you that. Sisters and brother J. David Cox, President of the American Federation of Government Employees.
Now, brothers and sisters, you can tell the young people like Larry, you know, they just jump right on up on this stage. You know, some of us, you know, we got to use the stairs over there. Now, I'm going to tell you why I have to use the stairs, because I've been around a little while in this world. I still remember the first postage stamp I bought from the United States Post Office to thank my grandmother for the birthday card that had the $1 in it that I received on my birthday. That I received every birthday of my life in the mail with the $1 in it until the day she died. Now, I'll tell you, I paid 3 cents for that stamp. Now, I'm not going to tell you that Mark sold it to me. But I still remember the day. 3 cents. And Mark and I have been around together a long time and working in North Carolina. And I was sharing with Mark earlier as I came in tonight. I was with Reverend Barber this past Saturday in North Carolina. 50,000 people marching in North Carolina. Now, Reverend Barber, one of the finest people I've ever met. Now, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times, he introduced J. David Cox, president of the American Postal Workers Union. So, you know, and I laughed about that, and some other folks said, well, I didn't know AFG and APWU had merged. Well, you know what, brothers and sisters? We haven't merged, but we are one solidarity movement. That's where it's at, brothers and sisters. One solidarity movement. Now, I've listened to all these speakers. You know what? I'm white. I'm black. I'm a postal worker. I'm a federal employee. I'm a communication worker. I'm whatever you want me to be. And now, you know, and some of you are going to figure out, now, how's he going to pull this one off? You know, I am also a registered nurse, so I know what it is to work in a woman's world, too. So, yeah, I've done a little bit of all of it in this world. But, brothers and sisters, I promise you this. I truly promise you this. The American Postal Workers Union is very important to every brother and sister at AFGE. Every brother and sister. And no matter what your fight, it's our fight. And I pledge to you, every day of my life, I will be out fighting for you, fighting for your contract, and fighting for your union just as much as I'm going to fight for my union, because every union is my union, because this is my movement, brothers and sisters. This is a movement. So, brothers and sisters, solidarity, union movement. Solidarity, union movement. Solidarity, union movement. We're all one and the same, and we're going to fight like hell. And I'm going to give you my final comments. Whenever they start this bull crap at the table about, well, we've just got to tighten our belts a little bit more, you tell them you're going to take that belt off and whoop their ass with it, because we've had it. We've had it. Working people are taking this country back. Brothers and sisters, it's time for a raise for everybody. So keep it up and go whoop some ass for AFGE and for the labor movement.
As I mentioned earlier, we have 2 local unions here with us, but I would be remiss if I didn't recognize my sisters and brothers who make up the National Executive Council of the American Postal Workers Union, who are in this room this evening. So give yourselves a hand. We also have in this room our 14-member rank and file committee. Of which President Demosthenes has appointed one who's deaf and hard of hearing, Angela Garrett, sitting in our front row. I'm going to give Nanette and Dina this much time together, because you have your membership. We appreciate you bringing members out with you. So give us some word of wisdom. Come on, sisters. And President Dimmerstein already said no flash mob. We can't flash mob, so don't try that. Don't you flash mob. No, I don't know. Whatever it is, we can't do it. Will that be this? No.
Cabbage Patch. That's Cabbage Patch. We want to thank Liz One for this opportunity. Yes. And this is our third time coming together as twins. But I really appreciate the opportunity to be involved with the contract to this magnitude. This has never happened in the history of APW. I really feel involved. My local feels involved. We appreciate this opportunity. We wish the best to those who are negotiating. I know you have a lot of work on your hands, and we have your back. We're here for you and with you.
Thank you. I am overwhelmed. I've been waiting for this moment all day. When I woke up, I couldn't wait to get here. And it's doing me really some really good because in the field, you really don't see the struggle and the fight. And people don't know how they tear you down on the workroom floor and tell you how bad you are and how sorry you are. But when I wake up with a thought on my mind, my great uncle and my grandfather said if I ever worked for a company that had a union, I had to join it or they would disown me, and they died back in the 80s. And I thank God for this opportunity because I just feel so good inside about what the American Postal Worker is doing at this moment. This is something that we're setting a standard for the next generation. It's not for myself. I'm sacrificing me for someone else, and I don't have no problem doing it, and I love fighting for others. And I appreciate you, President Mark Dimmerstein, because we never had this at this large magnitude. And it just feels so united. I feel the solidarity. I didn't understand solidarity when I first came to the post office in '94 and when my grandfather and great uncle talked about it at the age of 8. But I understand it now. And I just thank you all. I'm ready to go out and fight because it's power to the people.
And we're fired up. We're fired up and ready to go.
More.
Fired up.
I ain't taking no more. We're fired up. We ain't taking no more. Thank you.
I'm the son of postal workers. My mom and dad worked for the Postal Service for most of their working lives. My sister was a postal clerk. My brother, a letter carrier. I even worked at the post office during Christmas breaks as a teenager. Working for the Postal Service enabled my parents to buy their first home. They took great pride in their work, connecting customers, families, businesses, uniting our country. Now more than ever, we need the Postal Service to thrive and innovate for the future. The Postal Service belongs to all of us. It reaches everyone, everywhere, delivering medicine, packages, letters, newspapers, and catalogs without a dime of taxpayers' money. It never stops. But some people want to bury the Postal Service. Shut offices, reduce hours, limit delivery, outsource it, divide it, and privatize it. The post office is an anchor, a symbol of community. The Postal Service bridges racial, political, geographic, and economic divides. It is one of the nation's largest employers of veterans, women, and minorities, providing equal pay for equal work, good, decent union jobs. Let's salute the 625,000 postal workers. They stamp their mark of excellence on the Postal Service of yesterday, today, forever. Join me in a grand alliance to strengthen a cherished institution, our Postal Service, a public trust, a national treasure.
have to do what you have to do.
Sisters and brothers, in this fight, we cannot walk alone, and we cannot win alone. And it's my deep honor and privilege to introduce to you an unusual person and an attribute to the people of this country. Unusual in the sense that many times when folks make it big, they forget where they came from, they lose their way, and they're no longer one with the people. Danny Glover has remained one with the people, a principled brother of working folks and of union folks and of the oppressed. And over the last few months, or actually a little longer now, the APW has gotten to know Brother Glover, and he's gotten to know us, and he is absolutely passionate, for all the right reasons, about the defense of an institution and a public service that belongs to the people of this country. With no further ado, I give to you actor, director, and social activist, Brother Danny Glover.
Say, Jay, we did the right thing. We walked up the stairs. Now, we both may have been in the middle of having a hot flash since you've been a nurse. But I'd like to think that we walked up those stairs because we know it's a long struggle.
That's right.
It's no easy walk. It's a long, protracted struggle. It's been that every day when unions came into existence in the service of humanity, in the service of workers, whether they're women who were in the manufacturing industry in the 1830s in upstate New York and in the Northeast, whatever, it's been there all the time. They've been there, unions have been there. When I think about, as I sat down here and thought about all the energy here, and knowing that this is an initial kickoff, I thought about when my great friend, my brother Bill Fletcher, came and brought me in and talked to me about the idea of building a campaign around saving the post office. I knew that he wasn't simply just talking about just saving the post office, because Bill and I have been on many campaigns. We've been down many roads together. But I knew that he was talking about organized labor. Within the framework of saving the post office, we're talking about taking a stand. In a period of time, all the things that we think about the Enlightenment period. And the Enlightenment period in the 18th century is about the right to exist. Democratic society, self-governance came out of that whole period. The right to exist. Well, the right to exist has changed over the last 250-something years. The right to exist means that I need a decent job, a working job, a job with living wages. That's what the right to exist is about. The right to exist means that I need to have housing and food and family and build a future. That's right, the right to exist. It'll mean about maybe 250 years about having land to farm on and other things like that. It may have meant that. But it has changed as we have changed. I look at this picture of my mother and father, and that picture was taken on New Year's Eve, 1944, when they were married. And every time I look at that picture sits right prominently on a shelf in my house, the same picture that you saw. I look at this gentle couple, and not knowing the road ahead of them, but prepared to struggle, prepared to build a new life, prepared to take from the old, from rural Georgia, from the Midwest, Kansas City, Missouri, planned to take that right there and shape and transform themselves and bring about a new life, a different life, a life that certainly that I have benefited from. Not the life of my great-grandmother, my mother's grandmother, who was born in slavery in 1853. Not the life of her mother, who was a midwife and started out when she was married to her, my grandparents were married in 1915, started out as sharecroppers and tenant farmers, but a different kind of life. It took courage to take on that. Each stage in that great journey took courage to take, one step at a time, one step at a time, but making a commitment for change. In every way, in the small thing, every single one of you here today is making a commitment for change. And what does that mean? What does that mean? Dr. King often talked about the Montgomery bus boycott. And it was not simply the action that was taken, the action taken by those heroic men and women, families, and everybody else, and not stepping on that bus, and coming, meeting together, and finding other ways in which they could now take on and dismantle the system of degradation and segregation. There was a commitment to that. But in the process, there's a transformation goes out as well. We can't talk about change without looking at the changing within ourselves. So change is an ongoing dynamic. It's a constant dynamic that's happening. And each time we make another pact with ourselves, another relationship with ourselves, from myself personally to those generations before us and those digital generations that pass us. That's the change. And he spoke about that transformation. And the biggest thing to deal with in terms of that transformation is fear. Because we often fear the change itself. We often think in our minds that we can handle the change and this process that's happening. But it's going to take us to stand up in a different way for power. We've initiated this great alliance right now, the Grand Alliance right now. And we've had the most powerful voices to come to our aid in this Grand Alliance, because they know that those voices belong to their voice as well. We know that we're in the same common struggle. That, as my brother said, we came on different boats together, but we're in the same boat now. We know that in a sense. And we watched the power that we have dwindle away, piece at a time, and a piece at a time, and a piece at a time. Now they challenge us our right to exist. Now they challenge our right to make a living for our families, to build communities. That's what the Postal Service is at. And when I look at this picture and I think about these courageous people who stood up and felt the transformation. As a child, you don't know. You see it right there. You can't always articulate the change that is happening in your parents, but you listen to the conversation and how the conversation changes within the household. And the conversation is linked to the conversation that happened around them as well. You look at the people who come to them, Ray Ingram, who was president of the local right there. And you listen to him, and you see him, and you see the relationships build between my father, who was the treasurer of the local, my mother, who was the secretary of the local, and they move on. They're taking the power that they have themselves, transforming themselves within a transformative moment. But the transformative moment is the moment that they create. We had to create this transformative moment. We had to step up and confront our fears and confront our uncertainty. We had to stand up and believe that we ourselves are the architects of our own rescue, that we ourselves are the architects of the future at hand. Our future immediately in the future that lies ahead. This is what this is about. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. I always tell this story about my mother. And I'd love to just go by her workplace, because I knew she was going to say something to put a smile on my face when I'm struggling as an actor. And I had quit my job at the city and county of San Francisco, working in community development as a program manager and evaluation specialist. And I remember one time I went by there, and she would always, when my mother first saw me on stage, she came back to me backstage and she motioned me over and said, "Son, the people said you can act." Now, it was so beautiful that she was said that in her innocence, that she was listening to what the people, how the people responded to what they saw me do. And she was convinced. So all of a sudden, there's a new word in her vocabulary. My son, Danny, is an actor. And she would go up there, and she would call, every time I come by there, she said, "Come on, son, come on, I want you to meet some people we work with." "Oh, Mom, boy, come on." You know what she said, "Boy, come on." You don't have no objection. You may be 30-something years old, but it's "Boy, come on here." That's it. Okay. She get up here, and she like primps herself a little bit. She says, "I want you to meet my son, Danny. He's an actor." And there'd be about 3, 4, 6 people around, and they say, "Oh, he's an actor. What is he?" Wait. He hasn't done anything yet. But one day he's going to do something important. My mother's just smiling at us at this moment because we are here doing something and working on behalf of humanity to do something important. And that's what we're doing. Thank you so much, Ray. You know, I have to thank every single one of you, Mark, Liz, every one of you, all of you, McKinney and Associates, everyone who's been here. But I have to especially thank our sign language here, right here. Give them a hand of applause. They're the ones who kind of translate these unscripted words. Okay.
Sisters and brothers, if you all remember, when Danny spoke at our national convention, not only did we make him an honorary member of the American Postal Workers Union, but one of our delegates stood up at the microphone to make a motion that Danny Glover should autograph a picture to be hung in the president's office with the plaque on the bottom that says "Lethal Weapon for Labor." Not only did he autograph that picture, the picture is in Mark's office, but we are going to present him with a copy The inscription on here says, "For the American Postal Workers Union, keep up the good fight. I'm right there with you, Danny Glover."
All right. Okay, all right, baby.
He'll be back. He has an interview at 8:15, so we got to get him out of there and open through that room. And go through that room. He's got a few more minutes. You want to say a smart speech? Okay. Oh, I thought you were sending him that. I was. But he's in charge. I just work here. In November 19, oh God, I gotta get that doers quick. And
seems like a long time.
It seems like a long time. November 2013, Mark Dimmelstein was installed as the president of the American Postal Workers Union. During his inauguration speech, which we all heard, he had a vision. I've learned how to call him the president with a vision. Not only did he have a vision of establishing the Grand Lines, he had the vision of making life better for the membership of the American Postal Workers Union. And in order to make the lives better for the American Postal Workers Union, there had to be a postal service. There had to be communities that supported that. There had to be one in every zip code, which we should have one. But he took up the fight to ensure it. To all of our international union presidents who are in this room with us tonight, those who are not in this room tonight, to our allies, to our communities, to our families, to our friends, to Danny, to Mr. Hightower, to Mr. Schultz, to each and every one of you. On behalf of the American Postal Workers Union, I thank you, and I am honored to present to you the president of the American Postal Workers Union, Mark Dimmelstein.
Good evening again, sisters and brothers. My comments will not be long. You've heard speakers far more eloquent and probably had more to say than I have to say tonight. But before I get into my comments, I want to do a few recognitions. If Gwen McKinney is still in the room, if you could raise your hand. Is Gwen here? Gwen was the executive producer of the video that you saw, and we think it's a wonderful video for many reasons, and well done. I also, my good brothers and sisters, I hate to single anybody out, Brother Larry Cohn, who I've relied on for serious and very close counsel since I've gotten here, and actually we go back many years before that, and we deeply appreciate much of the guidance. And I do want to mention, without taking away from anybody else, that Brother Cox and the AFGE, Sister Augusta Thomas, who's one of the vice president of the AFGE, they've extended tremendous solidarity to the APW because we're in a contract fight. And as part of our convention resolution, we had a commitment to organize a contract campaign because of what happens away from the table is often more important than what happens at the bargaining table. And we're tight on experience in some ways and tight on resources. And the AFGE lent us, at least part-time, and still is lending us. If he closes his ear, I'll tell you how much time. It's all right. That's right. A very talented union leader and organizer, Brother Bill Fletcher. Bill. And some of you have had the webinars and the trainings around the country, have met Brother Fletcher in person. And brother, we very much appreciate your solidarity, your insight, and your terrific work. Maybe the best thing I can do now is just tell a little story. We like to be up front with postal management. We don't tell them everything, but we don't believe in zinging people. So we told them tomorrow on opening day of negotiations, we're going to have some guests there. And we asked a couple of the guests to say a few words. Now this comes on the heels of the establishment of the Grand Alliance. And be very clear, the Grand Alliance is much bigger than the APW. It's much bigger than negotiations. They're not the same. But everything intersects. And so we got an interesting reaction from postal management. They threatened for the last 24 hours that if we bring anybody but us, meaning the APW, the new Postmaster General and postal management just may not show up for the first day of negotiations. Now, why would they do that? Because they know that we cannot walk alone and we cannot win alone, none of us. And if they can keep us boxed, if they can keep us separated, and then they had the nerve to tell me, we were in a conference today, some of us, if you heard the door close, when I was in the hallway, that was the final conversation about what's going to happen tomorrow. And so management says, this is nobody else's business. We're strategic partners. We're just going to take care of these negotiations by ourselves. And I said, or maybe I yelled, if we're strategic partners, then why the hell are you closing process plants all over the country? Why the hell are you slowing down the mail all over the country? And don't give us this crap about strategic partners, and you're not going to tell us what tone we're going to set in our negotiations and with the people of this country. And what I told them, and I think we all know in this room, this Postal Service doesn't belong to the American Postal Workers Union, and it doesn't belong to the managers at L'Enfant Plaza. It belongs to the people of this country. And when we have the Larry Cohns and the Jim Hightowers and the Danny Glovers and the Rich Trumpkers and our other guests who are going to be there tomorrow, I didn't list them all, there, that means the people of the country are saying, this post office is ours. What happens at that negotiating table matters to us, and we're going to march, and we're going to struggle, and we're going to win together. That's why they threatened to not come to the bargaining table. And when they say, this has nothing to do with Danny Glover, and this has nothing to do with Rich Trumka, they're wrong. So we're going to be at the bargaining table tomorrow. Many of you in this room are going to be at the bargaining table tomorrow. And we expect management to be at the bargaining table tomorrow as well. They may not like it. We don't like a hell of a lot that they're doing to destroy and degrade this wonderful national treasure. And we're in a fight to make sure that this is a vibrant public institution and post office for years to come and generations to come, brothers and sisters. Solidarity forever. We still have plenty of food, and we got Elise that's going to close us out in some kind of cultural, maybe song or maybe something else. We'll find out. You want to close it out, Elise?
Make sure you go and eat up the rest of the food. Tell the doers I'm on my way. I wouldn't have one before this happened, but I sure can have one now. I'm done. Thank you, sisters and brothers. We love each and every one of you, and we hope you have joy this evening. Thank you.
Elise going to take us out in song.
Sister Brian is going to take us out in song with great inspiration once again.
Okay. I thank you. I thank you, Liz. I thank you, Mark. I thank all the brothers and sisters in this room who've made a difference. All the speakers have said it. It is going to take all of us together united. So, in the tradition of the African-American soldiers who during the Civil War marched through the streets of Washington, D.C. singing, John Brown's body lies a molder in the grave, his truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah, his truth is marching on. Julia Ward Howe, a white woman and abolitionist, said we need a song for this war that's going on in the country. She took the same lyrics. It's okay. I hear y'all in the back of the room. You think it's over, but it's not yet. Because the fat lady hasn't sung yet. Why is it that I think it's important to sing? Why does Mark think it's important for me to get up here and sing? Why does Liz think I have to get up here and sing? Because singing is what we do together as communion. Com is the Latin word for with. Union is the Latin word for one. And when we sing together, we are in communion. When we sing together, we breathe together. When we sing together, our hearts synchronize together. That's what our ancestors knew when they came to this country. That's what everybody knows. There's no movement without song. So in the tradition that Ralph Chaplin took in 1912, his poem and said, in our hands is placed a power greater than their hoarded gold, greater than the might of armies, magnified 1,000-fold. We, us together, all unions, will bring the ashes of the old, for the union brought my family up and out of poverty. The union put food on the table. The union brought all of us together, black, white, brown, yellow, hearing and hearing impaired, abled and disabled. This union is powerful. It's going to make a big difference, and I am standing with you, with all of you, when we say with all the ancestors who went before us, the ones who stepped off the boats, kissed the ground, and willed us to be here. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. One more time with feeling. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union.
any rank and file committee members in here, could we please have them come up to the front of the room to pick up your polo shirt? The buses will be back to pick you all up at 9 p.m. Don't miss the bus, Gus. Hannah, are you still in the room? She was just there with them. Hannah Lively, are you in the room?